All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do the Micronauts New Voyages, issue number 7 from Marvel Comics. This is not a continuation of a story, but is a flashback of the character Acroyear. And I must say, this is basically a fantasy science fiction story. And I must say, I was really invested. I like the look of Acroyear here, and I'm pretty new to the Micronauts, right? But they are, fun characters. This is volume 2, by the way, for those who don't know it. And we know a little bit more, or we're gonna know a little bit more about the worlds, the people of Acroyear. Now, why I'm saying of Acroyear, because it seems that Acroyear is not only his name, it's also the name of his race, which I didn't know. Story by Peter B. Gillis and Rod Whigham, who's doing the pencils. And I must say, the pencils all look very nice. And a lot of detail. I'm going to show you how this book looks like. And I always say backgrounds matter. And I'm saying this deliberately because I think background matters as much as what happened on the foreground, because you have a sense of scale, you have a sense of dread, because maybe you are in the swamps, maybe you're in space, maybe you are in the demon world or demon realm, stuff like that. It matters because and it also backgrounds tells also story. It can evoke atmosphere, among other things. So I'm really glad there's a lot of backgrounds and stuff like this here in the background. Anyway, so we get a little bit of recap. This is Arcturus Ron, who's the leader, the Princess of Mari, and friend Hunter, but also Bug. Bug has that adventure in the last issue number 6. But Acroyear, likes to have the company of his teammates, but he also wants to have, time on his own. And then something appears to him. It's the vision of Lady Cilicia, basically his wife or betrothed. But it's not clear that it's really a hologram or a vision. And he says that's probably a vision or a figment of his imagination, right? And he says, I wait you back in the microverse, Acroyear, and I shall soon bear your child. Does that mean nothing to you? So basically it's his guilt talking, I guess, right? But it's been presented like, because of all this energy crackling around her, that it's some kind of a hologram or a message, right? But it's, I believe, a figment of his imagination. Anyway, so he says, you dishonored yourself. You allowed our home planet Sparta to be destroyed, and I condemn you and fought you in the arena of judgment. Are you afraid to return? Surely you could vindicate yourself in my eyes. Let me love you again, right? Cilicia, my Cilicia, he says, to try to hold on to love is to try hold water in a clenched fist, and try to hold honor is to hold fire. It is as bitter, elusive, and torments the grasper. That's deep. Anyway, so he tells the story, right? About what happened in the past. So, and he says, we Acroyears think we know much about love and honor, my lady Cilicia, but I could tell you a story even you don't know about me, in which I learned things Acroyears normally do not know. All right, so we go back in the past, and this is a world called Ekbatan, and they are being invaded by a group of rebels called Black Fleet. So the forces of Acroyear, this is the neighborhood planet, I guess. So Acroyear and his crew are helping the people of Ekbatar, and there is a word called given, and the word is demon. Now, what that doesn't mean, we're gonna hear about that a little bit later. So, all right. So, but it seems that the Black Fleet is basically quicker. They have more, although Acroyear's crew are, stronger, but, somehow the other ones are a little bit more cunning. And it actually looks great, right? The battle was joined, and space crackled with energies and screamed with the soul cries of dying men. Cool. Many of my brothers and sisters died that day, for the man of the Black Fleet was swift, subtle, and courageous fighter. And for a time the fleet's commander looked on the battle and smiled behind the masks, because both Acroyear and Ekbatani, ships dwindled in number, and they nearly had us engulfed. Engulfed? All right. So the fight goes poorly, and they are, soon to be outnumbered. And so the leader of the Black Fleet says, "Yeah," something like that. But then that vision swiftly faded as suddenly the horizon blazed with fire, as if the planet has become a new sun. So what happened? The whole demon thing was more like a maneuver. So the half of the Acroyear's ships were flying around the planet, around the sphere, and they are going through the atmosphere, and they are basically, sent ablaze because of the plasma, or because of the atmosphere. And with their special force fields on full power, they carry that plasma along with them, becoming a multi-fingered weary hand, a hand under the expert guidance of my second in command, the Lady Illyri. That's how you say it. I like the masks, though. It's just very uniform. And it seems that, the Black Fleet was destroyed because of those flames. That was a impressive maneuver, I guess, right? So they're going down to the planet, and they're being awaited by a regent, and there was nobody there. Nobody's cheering. Where are the people? I don't know. So the woman says, "Is this the way you greet your saviors and presences of your Susanar?" So the regent comes in, and he says, this soldier says, "Hey, well, look at the sky, it's on fire. I see, the plasma effect still lingers. Quite spectacular." So the regent says, "You must pardon my people, Acroyears. They are simple folk and would attack and the fire in the sky. You are the regent? I am Elias, regent of Ecbatan, under your gracious rule, and I bid you welcome. It is no wonder that the Acroyears are feared through the microverse for their prowess in battle. Come, a more fitting reception awaits you." So they go into this, this open roofed car, and so Acroyear says, "Hey, I have two questions. First, the Black Fleet fights for pay alone. Who's paying them? And second, why, as befits a regent, were you not with your ships in their defense of your world?" So he wants to says, well, it's because of the rebels, and they're getting attacked by the rebels. And so this says, so the regent says, "Hey, take cover. It's an attack by the rebels." But then, "We are Acroyears, regent. We do not take cover." But the enemy is shooting some kind of a, spear. And then the regent and jumps in front of, one of the Acroyears, the lady, and they are both hit. The spear plunged clear through the regent's chest to limp itself to Illyri's side. She do not cry out. They are being taken out by, the king's or the regent's forces, I guess, and they've been towed away to, the hospital, and she is on the brink of death. "My thoughts were that this was not right, that I did not wish her to die, not now or ever." So, a particular storyline is that some people, or a lot of people, use bodies, to enhance their or extend their life. We call body banks. Like limbs, ribs, blood, eyes, hands, arms, legs, stuff like that. So the region is miraculously are being, crafted, all these body parts crafted into him. He's fine again. And but this doctor wants to do this with the lady, but then they say, "We consider the body banks an abomination, physician. I will endure the pain and be healed, or die as the world mine aids me, or not." Great surroundings, by the way. So Acroyear says, "I have more questions. If there was a rebellion, why did we not wait for the security escort to arrive? And why were we in an open car? I was afraid it would not come, my lord. They are all simple people, and the fire in the sky. I am sorry, my prince. I did not think." But Acroyear says, "Yeah, that's not going to fly." Anyway, but then the lady says, "You shall not criticize Regent Laios in my presence. I owe him my life and honor, a blood debt." All right. She says, "It is for honor we breathe, fight, live, and die, Acroyear. and honor. I will give this man no matter the cost, and as you are bound to me by honor, so are you in debt to him. And he accepts. So the regent says, hey, let's have a feast in your honor, right? And so Acroyear says, okay, now spill the beans. But then it sees that the regent says, well, the rebels has been led by his son. And remember, this is a flashback, right? Now we have another flashback as some, I don't know, ship where he was on, and some kind of an accident happened, and his son and his wife died. But suddenly, or without explanation, the son basically blames his father here for that attack, and since then, I don't know, he wants to become regent or something like that. He wants him to die. So the lady says, we are in blood debt to you, Regent Laius, and if you wish him dead, the Acroyear is at your disposal. He's still my son, lady. My wishes perhaps cannot be granted, but Ekbatan and must have peace again. I will say more tonight. All right, so they've been led to the chambers, and so Acroyear says, hey, don't you have another chamber, because we are not a couple? But then the lady says, I am not assaulted by this man's assumptions, my prince. It could easily be justified. My lady, we both know I am betrothed to the lazy Cilicia, that we two are embodied heritages of our world Spartak. Our heritage is of the past. I am thinking of the future that we could build. You may think what you like. It is your right. Indeed, I have exercised my right to say what I have said, nor do I retract it. All right, so she's been led to her chamber in thoughts. But then there is another man in her room, and she swiftly attacks him. But the mind says, no, I mean no harm. My name is Polybus. What kind of name is that? I am the leader of the rebellion. So the woman says, you will be turned over to your father, Polybus, or Polybus. Your father whom you have wronged. He saved my life, and I'm in blood debt to him. Do not seek to move me or overcome me. Both will fail. But then he says, no, this is all a misunderstanding, right? That whole attack was staged. Wait a minute. So what, the attack in space that killed thousands of people from both sides, that was staged? So she says, that changes nothing. And two, he says, the man you met is not my father. Wait, what? Not your father. Then who is he? May all the god looks down and weep with me. He is my son. He's my son. What? So there is another There's another flashback. In this flashback. But the regent is older than you. Tell me, how can this be? You reckon without the body banks or the monster's behavior that even a youth is capable of. I do not know how my wife and I spawned such a monster, but surrounded by court intrigues, he grew up precocious and devious. He told you of the accident, but it was no accident. My son engineered it. He saw to it that when his mother died, his brain would be crafted to that hopeless damaged nervous system of his grandfather, and that I would live to see it. So tell me, how would a child stage the death of this, of the mother? I don't know. So it's, okay, so he's now regent, but he's still a child or something like that. And he says, then this vicious little child in the body of his grandfather, who was ruler of this planet, assumed the regency and proceeded to wreak havoc of the world, of that world, as if it were playing with his toys. But contrary to his planet, I escaped and fed the flames of rebellion. He's my son, but he murdered my wife and committed an abomination upon my father. That's why I rebel. That's so weird. The story would shake any Acroyear's soul, if it is true. So he says, I do not blame your skepticism. I can hardly believe the tale myself, but I can prove it to you. Will you help me, lady? But then she says, no, because I'm still bloodbound to him, right? Regardless of the truth. But by Dala and sepsis, why? So she's explained that. So she's, I don't know, tie him up. She says, you realize I tried to escape. Try then, but be quick, for you have little time. So she says, I'm going to see the prince. And then the prince is, or the regent prince. Yeah, the regent says, hey, we got a word of the lady. And the lady asked you to come to her chambers. So he says, let's do that, right? And she is basically praising the regent because of his courage, right? Because that is what important honor and all that stuff in a race, right? Because strength and courage. She says, stirs much in us, in me. Now it's getting better. So she wants to talk to him, right? Because she pretends to be how do you say, lustful, I guess. So so they talk, and he says, hey, we have said enough and talked enough. So he wants to have the thing, right? But then she says, no, I have heard all what I want from you, and you are an abomination. What are you talking about, my lady? Pull back the covers and you'll see. We Acroyears sleep on hard beds, but none so hard as this. What? A complete bioscan unit? You tricked me. And then she's accusing him. By trickery, I have seen that your cerebral cortex is in fact crafted onto your rest of your nervous system. You are what your father described. You are the monster who murdered his own mother and did worse to his grandfather, usurping his life via the body banks. It's getting better and better. So, and then he says, yeah, very well, it's true. I admit it. I looked at the adults of the world and hated them. Why? I was as intelligent as they were, and I was treated worse than a slave. What? I have no information about that. When I saw the chance to grab their power from them, I took it. I have no regrets. And you will tell no one about this. Of course, I owe you my life. I will not imperil it. Good. Then we can pick up where we left off. You said you could deny me nothing. My blood debt does not extend sleeping with children. I shall not. I am not a child, he says. I am regent of Ekbatan, and I will have anything I want. Anything I want. And she says, I do not bear children, child. You do it, or I'll blast you where you stand. Oh my God, man, the 70s, right? Okay, but then this is happening. She says, I will not do it. Then die, Acroyear scum. You don't tell me no. And then Acroyear is behind the curtains and he says, it is done. Kill the monster! And they shoot the regent, and he's dead. The debt of honor we owed him has been paid, a life for a life, and then we could act for justice, but the price of honor was too high. And I extract another price from you, my prince, she says. Name it, and it's yours. A kiss, my prince. And I kissed her, and she died. And then we go to the present, I guess. So he tells her all this. He says, that's when I grew to know that the price of honor is always too high. Always. Honor is a reality imprisoned in its past. It is meaningless for the future. That is why I allow Sparta to be destroyed, and that is why I do not return. Not yet. You cannot hold the fire in your hands. And is that the only thing you learned from that, my prince, Acroyear? Will my own visions lecture me? What else is there? So his own guilt, or his I don't know, maybe what he wants, tells him that love's price is always high as well. And it's meaningless for the future. Like a fistful of water, it's only part of the fleeting present. And you should see, my prince, that in that one last moment when both Illyria's prices were paid, the price of the second was exactly enough. So do not be afraid to pay that price, Acroyear. When next we meet, I shall not, my lady. I promise. And that, my friends, is the end of this tale of Acroyear. For now, because we're going to do an issue number 8 coming soon. Guys, let me know in this comment what you think about this. I like this whole honor stuff. We need to bring that back. I really like this. What a great book. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give a like. Leave a comment. See you next time. Bye-bye.